All right, everybody. Welcome to the first episode here on the I'm All Set podcast. Uh, I'm the happy host here, Sean, and I finally, anybody who's been watching my YouTube channel, I finally found what hopefully is my long term co-host, Marilyn. Say hi to Marilyn.
Hi everyone. I'm Marilyn, the
Yeah.
ghost of Sean. So yeah,
So we've been like I've been saying all the time that like you just got to get out here and record. I have had such a struggle with trying to find somebody to actually do this, and I just want to say thank you, Marilyn, because you so far you've been
you're
great
welcome.
and having good conversations so far. And I mean, just so everybody knows, like here we've been sitting here. We were supposed to start recording like what was it? We were supposed to start recording 30 minutes ago, and instead of starting recording, we just sat here and have just started talking. So fair enough, but and I was like, we really we got to get out here and start doing these recordings and starting on all the things we were talking about are things that were relevant to the podcast. So with that being said, I think this very first episode, I think it's important that we kind of just go over what exactly this podcast is about. So like I said, anybody who hasn't been following my YouTube channel, um, I'm in the process of leaving the U.S. and going over to the Philippines, and I thought it was super important to have somebody, an actual co-host that was Filipino, so that way they could check me on all of my maybe misconceptions or things that I was thinking that wasn't exactly right. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And having somebody that can, basically help filter things and also answer some questions for me and for anybody else that might be listening. So that way we can, yeah, just maybe come up with, yeah, something that makes sense and maybe some may help something people might want to listen to. And I think that I was telling Marilyn here that we were kind of like I was really going back and forth on like what was really the messaging for the podcast. And overall the messaging, as far as I'm concerned, yes, it's about me leaving and going to the Philippines is the, I guess, the driving force here, but it's really about just following what it is that, there's got to be something more than our Western way of looking at things, and finding something that makes a little more sense, and kind of following your own path to finding what makes you happy if you're not currently doing what makes you happy. You know what I mean? So yeah, so
Mhm.
that's overall what I think we're going to be getting into, and we'll just see kind of how it evolves from there. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Even though right now it's just me and Marilyn, and we don't really have any viewers yet, but hopefully at some point we will have some viewers. But we'll try to keep you entertained for the one or two people that might see the show right now. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
All right. So, on this episode, we were basically kind of just going over like general ideas about what we're doing here and what's going on. And right now, I think that just to kind of give a little bit of heads up, I like this is also about, uh, like I said, Maryland can help us all figure out things. I think we have a lot of misconceptions about the Philippines, right? And about, in
Exactly.
particular in this situation, about the Philippines and things that we think are good and bad and right and wrong, and what we're actually doing. Yeah, what the difference between the cultures are. So hopefully, yeah, like I said, she'll be chiming in on all of that. So that's good, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. And then listen, and just like I said, everybody, and it's okay to say these things on air, right? Like at the end of the day, we're just getting our feet under us, right? We're just trying to
Mhm.
find our way. And I look back at a bunch of YouTubers, a bunch of podcasters and stuff. If you go way back in their history, like their first couple episodes, oh, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
And we're just talking here. What's really the what's happening, or the realistic. Sorry, the realistic what do you call that? cultures and the definitions of um Filipino, because like what I mentioned earlier, it's kind of as you mentioned to me that you had a different experience with Filipino, but we were able to talk as well earlier that it's kind of it depends
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
depends to the
Right.
people.
Right, because
Yeah.
so like what she's in reference to is so what we were actually talking about was I was like so I've actually like I've been to the Philippines a number of times already, right? And my my perceptions of like even of Filipina, right? I've met a bunch of girls from the province. I've met a bunch of girls, just around in bars or clubs or this kind of thing. And now, actually, through this process of working out this YouTube thing, right, and the podcast thing, I have met the like independent, um, the independent class of Filipino, which I had never, when you're going there for from a Western point of view, going there for like you even if you're there for a month, you might talk to somebody online, and then you go there and you talk to somebody when you're there or whatever. You meet some girl in a mall or whatever. You're not meeting the girls like yourself, right? Or like Phoebe who does all the
Mm-hmm.
background stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You like Western. We're not meeting these girls. You're meeting the girls that are maybe work in the mall, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
they're whatever. But I'll let you tell your own story. But like, it's crazy. Like she was telling me, like there's no way for a Western guy with what you were telling me with way your work schedule was, right? There's literally no
Exactly.
way for a Western man to ever meet you. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even
Exactly, because we're working, yeah, we're working just in the office and then go home and then office again and then home. So yeah,
like really like
our life is
tell them what you told me in regards to like what your work schedule looked like, what your like 1 24-hour work schedule. Let them know, tell them what a work schedule for a yeah for
yeah.
what you was.
So basically, yeah, basically I work as a call center agent here in the Philippines, and I'm working like 9 p.m. to 6 in the morning. So I leave house like 5 p.m. because my place is in Cavite, and then my work is in BGC, Taguig. So it's kind of far. I need to allot 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours travel time to make sure I get in the office on time. So it's kind of hard because I'm traveling back and forth for 6 hours and then 9 hours of working. So sometimes I extended my time to work like 2 more hours. So most probably I leave the office like 8 a.m. So I need to travel and then get home by 12 noon or 11 a.m. So I
And
need
then right
to
and then,
take care of.
yeah, right, but then right back to work at like 5, right? Like
Yeah,
so
5 again, 5 p.m.
yeah,
So
so
that's every day.
right. So there's like so that's my whole thing is regardless of what you have going on in your personal life or whatever, right? Like there
Mhm.
is no time for a personal life at that point. And I think that's one of those things that it's like been believe it or not, I mean I knew things like this existed, right? I've heard of these things before. But I've never I haven't met the people who are actively doing it. I've met people who like, oh, that's the way it was after I got out of college, or that's like, I've seen I've heard about stuff like that, but I've never actually like seen it, right? And at the end of the day,
Mhm.
that's something that was like super shocking to me as a Westerner is like looking, hearing stories like that, like because literally there is not enough money. Period. They printed.
Mhm.
There's not enough money made for a Westerner to run a schedule like that. Like what you
Yeah.
describe doing, there is not one Western female that I can that I've ever met in my life. I mean, that's not to say there aren't any, because I'm not throwing any stones. I'm going
Mhm.
always remember that whenever I say something, it's only just what my what I've had interactions with. I can't speak to
Mhm.
everybody. I don't claim to know
The
everybody.
experience.
Right, right. Just my personal
Yeah.
experience. I've never met anybody who would do that, who would work those hours in midnights and then travel
Mhm.
3 hours each way just
Crazy.
even if you're making good money on the whole deal, that's just
Mhm.
something that's crazy. All of these experiences that I've heard, even my experiences that I've had there, were like I've said it before. Like I had some people do some work for me there when I was there, and like I do construction here in the States, and I like the guys that I have working for me would never do the work that I've had done already when I was there. They would never do it.
Mhm.
I couldn't pay them enough money to do it. So it's always been a
Mhm.
huge thing for me just seeing like Filipinos in general and the work
Mhm.
ethic, the amount of work they're willing to do and the things they're willing to be able to provide for themselves and for their
Mhm.
family is unreal. It is unlike anything I've
Mhm.
ever seen here ever in my whole life. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of a huge differences between the Western people to the Filipino people, but I cannot tell that all of the Filipino is like me, or like those people who's just spending their time to work and then getting home. So basically there's also people who has the idea or the mindset of Western. They get it from the Western people too. So
Mhm.
like what you've experienced, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
yeah, I get that. Like like I said, it's not an everybody and all the time thing. I understand that, but it's just a but like I said, it's different. Like I mean, Jesus, I've had this stupid cold for a week, and it's giving me this stupid respiratory thing. So I apologize for coughing on the microphone over.
it's okay.
But yeah, like it's been just like I said, my experiences overall, and these are the kind of things that. At the end of the day, these are the kind of things I want to highlight. It's just the real difference. Like here, okay, so here in the United States, and I was also telling you this earlier, is that basically there is no. I mean, and it's hard to say with what you were doing that there is a work life balance because there really isn't, even for you at that point. But I think like here the expectations are different, right? Like everything here is about just grinding and working until the end. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's just and it's and here's a quick question as a matter of fact. Like does the is the does the Filipino culture have um like a real consumer, are you like ultra consumer um mindset? Like you have to have the newest iPhone, the newest thing, and you're always upgrading. Does the Filipinos also do? Is that also common there, or is that
Yeah,
something?
there is.
Or is the ultra consumer? Is that really just a Western thing, or is that a everybody thing?
Actually, yeah, I would tell you honestly, Sean, that there's a lot of Filipino as well that wanted to get an iPhone or upgrade their devices,
Hmm.
especially if there's a new upgraded devices, like now it's iPhone 16, right?
Yep. Yep.
So some of those I cannot tell as well that every one of us like working in a call center is really wanted a good life like what I wanted. So it's still depending on the mindset of the person,
Right. Right.
because some of my colleagues too, when I see them, they just wanna they are earning money enough, but
Mm-hmm.
they just wanna have fun, go out sometimes during their off. They don't want they don't want to rest,
Right.
and
Right.
also wanted to just um so I want to work hard now because I wanted to get this latest iPhone um
Right.
now.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
something like that. So I cannot also tell that all of those working in a call center or at night
Mm-hmm.
is I mean has a good mindset
Right, right,
as
right.
me.
Of course, yeah, yeah, of course. Like, so there's no, and what I'm more speaking to is like just the overall, like, so our, I mean, like, the United States just on a whole, like, we are the largest consumers on Earth, right? Like
Yes.
I was saying in one of my old videos that and here's an example, right? Like so it goes even a step further than like the newest iPhone, right? So here,
Mhm.
if you had seen me just 1 year ago, right now, 1 year ago,
Mhm.
and that was 1 year ago, right? So right before I went, because I went to the Philippines the first time in January of 2024 was my first time going.
Oh, last year.
Yeah, last year.
Not that long.
Yeah, and and let me tell you, so when I got back here, after going to the Philippines, I looked around and I was just like, what am I doing? Right? I had a $100,000 car, right? That I rarely
Mhm.
drove because I was also
Mhm.
driving my work vehicle, which is a $70,000 car. Then I had a
Mhm.
$30,000 motorcycle, and then I had a
Mhm.
$25,000 car, and it's just me.
Mhm.
It's just me. And I had four vehicles, and two vehicles that were one was like a junk vehicle that a junk vehicle that I considered a junk vehicle, right? And then I had one that was
Mhm.
the fancy vehicle. Then I had my work vehicle. Then I had my fun vehicle, which is my motorcycle. And it
Mhm.
is, like I had the really expensive fancy car. I had that one for 4 years, and in the four
Mhm.
years, I had driven it what most people would drive a vehicle in about 6 months. So I
Mhm.
put a bunch of as much wear on the vehicle as somebody driving for 6 months. They drove it all the time, and I did that in 4 years. So I had all these things, and it's because I was in this constant cycle of I'd like if as soon as okay, so let me back up a little bit. So I was very very poor when I was young,
Mhm.
right? Well, I came up from a very very poor family that I had nothing. I had just nothing good when it come to money. So what I was always like that I was always chasing this goal, right? And I was like,
Mhm.
once I get this, then I'll be happy. As soon as I get this, I'll be happy. So as soon as I get that car, that's what's going to make me happy. When I get this motorcycle, then I'm going to be happy. And then when I get this new phone, and then the new phone, and then the new computer, and then build the new computer, and then do this, this is what's going to make me happy. And then
Mhm.
what wound up happening is that I got all of those things, right? I got the house with 5 acres,
Mhm.
and I got the four vehicles, and I had all the latest tools and toys and all the fun
Mhm.
stuff, right? All the things. And then I realized I was just as miserable than I was when I didn't have anything. I like so I
Exactly.
went through all of that, and I had and I didn't it made me know I was mentally in the exact same place. Like and what it whether it be whether we're talking about the consumption here, the consumer here, the consumption of things is it's really like it's filling a void. And I think that's the what I think the difference what I see from a Western point of view, like to correct me if I'm wrong, but what I see from a Western point of view is that we are doing it because we're constantly trying to fill a hole, right? Because like here's a good example. Here at my home, I've owned this home that I'm at now for 4 years, three years,
Mhm.
4 years, something like that. And in the yeah 4 years, I don't know any of my neighbors.
Mhm.
Like I have never in 4 years, I have never spoken to my neighbors. I mean, like hi or bye. I don't know their names. I don't know what they do. I don't know their children. I've never had a
Mhm.
conversation with them. Never.
Mhm.
So it's we're constantly consuming here because there's like this bubble. We all put ourselves in these bubbles, and every time I come back from Philippines is not the first Asian country I've been to, but whenever I come back from Asia, in general, I always say the same thing. As soon as I get off the plane, I feel alone, all by myself. Like there, you can't help. Like, can you imagine living someplace for 4 years and not knowing your neighbors? Could you even imagine that there?
Yeah, maybe I can't imagine it because I live in a place where we are very welcoming and friendly to our neighbor, and not even like a strangers, a fellow Filipino like that. Um we are, mostly like to friends with them, or
Right.
say hi, hello, or yeah,
Right. And it's yes, it's
having a conversation is really, important as well, to
mhm.
be able to know, or to be able to have good friends, or um, because in that way as well you can, get an idea, or you can also able to get the what do you call that, um the different perception of the
Yeah,
people,
perspective. Yeah, yeah,
know what I
perspective. Yeah,
mean? Yeah.
perspective. That's the word you're looking for. But yeah, no, that
Mhm.
100%. And it's not like my neighbors are not friendly, right? That's not the problem.
Mhm.
It's it's
Was it because
it's
you're busy enough
no, it's
to,
what it's our culture. Our culture is,
oh,
right? Our culture here in the
yeah.
United States is everybody is like their own island. Everybody is that what they're doing is their business, and no, there is no internet. That's all this craziness that's going on in my country right now. All the fighting and all the social divide and everything that's going on here, because there is no conversation with your neighbor. There is no conversation with people who don't think like the same way. Like the internet has become like this thing that the only people you ever have to deal with are people that think like you and agree with
Mhm.
you. So therefore,
Mhm.
you're never, and we just don't have any interaction. My neighbors are, I mean, they're nice people. I see them when I see them, they smile. But
Mhm.
there's no reason for me to go talk to them. There's nothing
Mhm.
going on there for me to have a conversation with them. So I live
Mhm.
here all this time, and what's crazy is the mayor of my city, lives across the street from me. I
Mhm.
only know that because it's on there's a sign that tells me that, right? Like,
Mhm.
but outside of that, I like I like there's just no interaction with there's nobody to talk to. There's no reason. I have more talking with the person at the corner store where I get gas every day than I do with my neighbors, right? Like in
You know what? Yeah. If I can imagine your life, Sean, I know you have all those stuffs like car, house, motorcycle,
Mhm.
or money as well. But if you think another way around, it's kind of sad as well, because what's the use of your money looking forward if you don't have someone to, friends, especially, or partner?
Mm.
You especially that, because it's kind of important as well that you have someone to, to talk to, or to spend the life,
Mm.
um
Yeah.
the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
You know what's
yeah, it's
crazy?
kind of sad for you.
You know what's
Yeah,
crazy?
it's
You know what's crazy
mhm,
is like I didn't realize until actually when I got back from the Philippines when it really like all of this kind of like happened to me all at once, right? It was kind of like I feel like I'm one of those people from a movie that like went someplace and come back and like, oh my god, all of a sudden my brain like I think something totally different. But it really was like
mhm,
because I was I went before going there, I had gone, I swear to you, 2 years. I went 2 years
mhm.
where the I didn't speak to anyone that didn't work for me.
Oh.
The only people I had any interaction with were people that work for me. And I mean, I have kids and this and that, but and it's not like I had this terrible relationship with my kids. That wasn't the problem.
Mhm,
But here in the United States, we just don't those values aren't the same as like what you're used to, right? Like my kids are off in
mhm,
other states and doing what it is that they do, and also I was also very very busy with work. So like the only conversation, like they would call me, right? They would call me and just like, "Hey dad, how are you doing?" And I would talk to them for 20 minutes once a month,
mhm.
and that's it.
Wow.
So I would go to work and I would come home and I would just spend every single day by myself for 2 years, just alone, all the time. And there are
Not
so many.
even like hang out like once a week or once a month together. You don't have that.
No, because everybody
It's
here
kind of
is
sad.
everybody here is just doing the same thing. Everybody is just working in their own bubble, right? The same thing
Mm,
that I was doing for work, everybody I know was also doing that same thing for work, right? They're just off going to work, and they go to work, and then they're coming home, and then they're sitting by themselves as well. And it's also something that's very crazy. Like, like guys, I okay, so guys in my age group, right, are
mm,
very, very like undesirable as far as women are concerned here.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't just like
Yeah.
here, like you can't just like I could do fine if that's what I was looking for, right? And it's
Mhm,
because I had a little bit of money, and because I'm doing okay for myself, and I have all my things together, right? But and it's not that like, and when I wanted to go on dates, I could, but it was always the same, right? But I
mhm,
know a lot of guys who are in my same age group that
mhm,
absolutely, like, I don't think I'm the best looking guy, but I'm not ugly, right? But I'm not like
mhm,
some fancy
mhm,
looking guy or something, but because I can talk well, and because
mhm,
I'm relatively successful with what I do, right? That
mhm,
automatically made it so I could do okay. But there's a lot of guys that just had like regular jobs and regular cars and regular
mhm,
things, and would go. I know a bunch of guys even right now that haven't spoken to a woman like in a capacity,
mhm,
like trying to, like a person of interest, in like years, years,
mhm.
because like
It's
you,
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. And I tell you, like, I looking back on it, I was so alone. Like, I mean, utterly and completely alone. And you don't even realize how
Mhm,
alone you are until you snap out of it, right? Until you like stop and look around, and you're like, holy crap, what am I doing? I like I said, and I bought all these things, I have all this stuff. So like I said, I was just trying to fill this hole, right? Because I don't have any social reaction interaction that I want. So let me
Yeah,
just
but how was your,
things.
yeah, if I may ask,
Yeah.
Sean, how was your mental during those 2 years without interaction to anybody?
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah, because
Absolutely,
2 years,
absolutely horrible. Absolutely
yeah,
horrible.
2 years.
Like, I didn't realize how bad my mental state was, once again, until, and what's so crazy is, like, I was only supposed to go, like, when I went to the Philippines. I was totally by accident, completely by accident, that I went to the Philippines. I was
What do you
actually,
mean by accident?
well, because I was actually, like, all that time just sitting by myself, right? I come home from work, and I was working
Mhm,
crazy hours at the time. I was working like 17 hours a day, like,
mhm,
just I mean, I was running huge crews of people, like hundreds of
mhm,
people is what I was in charge of. And
mhm,
so, like, all of my interactions with people was just work, 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 work. Like, it was just crazy. And it ate up so much time. But then a little bit of time I did have to myself, I was like coming home, and I was watching YouTube, right? And I was watching YouTube, and I was
mhm,
watching videos about actually going to Thailand. That's where I was going. So
mhm,
I actually bought a round trip ticket to Thailand, and I was just going to go. And I
mhm,
was like, I just got to do something different, and I got to blow off some steam, and I just got to. So I was going to go to Thailand and go party for
mhm,
a month, right? That was my
mhm,
big thing. I was going to go party for a month, and then, because of there's a few other creators that I found on YouTube while looking at Thailand, that was like,
mhm,
oh, you should try the Philippines. You should come take a look at the
mhm,
Philippines. I had never even thought about going to the Philippines. It was like a total whatever. And so I go, and then what I wound up doing is, from Thailand, I wound up booking an extra ticket, a ticket just to jump over to the Philippines. So,
mhm,
and it was like, and then I went to the Philippines, and I just loved every bit of it. Like, I loved, like, Thailand, like I said, Thailand's a cool spot, but Thailand seems very like it seems very like Las Vegas to me. It's very, let's go, let's go, let's go. Very like yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, if you're trying to have a good
Mm-hmm.
time and do some fun stuff, that's your spot. But
Mm-hmm.
then
And also in terms of language as well, Filipino can talk more English compared to Thailanders, if I'm not
one
mistaken.
1000%. I mentioned my number one video on TikTok. The number one video I have was actually talking about that very subject, and there were even some Filipinos that were like, "No, not everybody speaks English in the Philippines." I'm like, "No, no, no." So I'm not saying that everybody in the Philippines speaks English. However,
Yeah.
well, I've been to a lot of countries, and out of all the countries I've been to, the Philippines is the most bilingual country I've ever been to.
Exactly.
Like, because if you go to Thailand,
Yeah,
yes,
I can
you
tell.
can find some people that speak English, but the
That
vast
even in the
majority
street they
don't.
can understand English, right?
Right, right.
Even in the street,
And
yeah,
even if it's broken, it's
exactly.
still better than most other countries. Most other countries that English isn't their primary language don't just
Mm-hmm.
speak English. Like, I mean, I'm pretty positive that you can go to almost anywhere, not everywhere, but almost anywhere in the Philippines and
Mm-hmm.
find somebody who will understand, you know what I mean, what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll
Mm-hmm.
find someone, like, you know what I mean, like, and that makes it such a very easy transition for Western
Mm-hmm.
people because unlike most other countries, Westerners almost like most of us don't speak multiple languages. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
go to all other countries, like you're bilingual, right? How many people do you know? Are most people you know bilingual?
Like, um, I think it's almost everyone because some other Filipino really can speak English, but they are just afraid to converse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're so shy,
Very shy, very shy to
But
speak. Yeah,
if you're trying to you're trying to have a conversation with just people in the street or somewhere or anywhere in the Philippines, they can understand you.
right.
It's just that they cannot respond to you because they're shy to because of the one thing is because of the accent too.
Right, 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 right. And
Yeah.
they're just very nervous to actually like spit the words out. Even if they understand what you're
Hmm.
saying, they're afraid to like spit it back out. You know what I mean? And that,
Exactly.
yeah, all the time. So, but that's what I try to tell people is like that is a huge difference between here and there, or between there and multiple other countries. Is that people just don't
Hmm.
like being able to find people that actually speak English. It makes your whole travel process so much easier, so much easier.
Hmm.
Yeah. And sorry, I was looking at. I had a message that just popped up on my computer and it distracted me. Yeah. And anyways, okay. So yeah, but yeah, that like I said, just having somebody that can actually like speak, going to a place that has that you can actually speak the language is a just a huge plus, and it just like I said, just makes everything easier and
Hmm.
makes the and that's what I want to like also convey to people. So like I think you can kind of just go there and just figure it out, right? Like you can just make your way
Hmm.
through and you might stumble here and there, but it just yeah, it just makes everything way easier, which is what I've been trying to tell even my sons and even my father and all kind of stuff. Like I tell you, when I've got back from there, I like raved about it to everybody. I'm like, oh my goodness, like everybody's got to go there. This is this is the greatest place. It's fantastic, But I think that it's not to have blinders on. Every place has its downsides, right? There are things that
Exactly.
aren't awesome, right? That's
Hmm.
everywhere, but um, I would say that I've also said this a whole bunch on my YouTube and stuff like that. Is that like with the downsides here is or should the upsides to being there is being not involved in like your politics and all the personal things going on there that are the Filipino only topics, I guess you could say, is that like I
Hmm.
was able to like just slow down. Like pace
Hmm.
there is so much slower than it is here.
Hmm.
Everything
Yeah,
is
because
right now.
Western is very fast paced. No.
Yeah, everything is right now. Everything is right now. Like
Hmm.
I can,
Exactly.
if I want something done, like I mean even like just today I had like ordered work done and it wasn't like, "Hey, what is this?" It's like, "Okay, this work needs to be done tomorrow." and
Mhm.
like you have to be there right at this time. It has to be finished by this time. Everybody go go go. Like everything is right now, right this instant. You know, I
Mhm.
mean everything from ordering. I mean I can order something on Amazon right now,
Mhm.
and I can literally order it right now, and it will be on my porch before I wake up, be sitting
Mhm.
there, right? Because everything is right now, this very minute. And I was able to, I was able to go there and actually like slow down and collect my thoughts. And back to what we were saying before, like the mental health. My mental health was struggling, like struggling so bad,
Yeah.
so bad. And you know,
That's
I
what I
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
That's why that's what I noticed on your episodes on YouTube. So I think, oh, how about mental health of Sean? Is he really struggling or what? Because it's kind of hard. Your life there is kind of hard. So when you mention about the, living in Western, is I understand now why there's a lot of Western people who wants to settle down here in the Philippines.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
because of the life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
I
because
see.
so like and what it
I
is,
totally understand.
it's not that people here aren't willing to work hard. That's not really the problem. People are willing to work hard, but like there's only two ways to be successful here. There's only two. And the two way well I should say there's three ways to be successful, I should say. So the way number one and the easy way is because you're from a successful family, you know, and every country
Mm,
has that, right? Every country
exactly.
has, you know,
Right.
if your parents are rich, well, then most likely you're going to be rich too. You know what I mean? Like that. So there's that.
Right.
That's the easy, the cheat way, right? Then the next way, which is kind of working hard, but like if you are the best at something, if you are like you are like the guy who is the best at whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is, but just the guy
Mm-hmm.
who is the smartest, the best at whatever that thing is. You are also very successful because you are, you know, in the top 1% of whatever that thing is, and then you're awesome because then everybody needs you. You know, they need you to be because you're good at
Right.
what you do, and you're so good that everybody needs you and they're willing to pay for it. The other way to be successful, and my way to be successful here, was to work until you just it's to be the one who works the hardest, who puts the most hours in. Like, you know, when I
Mm-hmm.
left my old job and started the company that I'm at now, with what I'm doing now, it was, you know, I started out and I had nothing, but I was willing to work 16, 18 hours every single day, all the time. No family, no friends, and you know, and that's part of the reason, right? Like, so, you know, like family connections that I had and friend connections that I had for so long. I mean, I had people that were calling me like, "Hey, let's go do this. Let's go do that." But
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, "Sorry, I can't. I'm working. I'm working. Nope, I can't do that. I'm working. I can't do that. I
Mm-hmm.
nope. I can't go to that trip. I can't go to that barbecue or hang out, or if I did go to those barbecues or whatever, those little events, little social events or whatever, I would show up. And it got to the point where I had some friends that every year I would go to their kids' birthday parties. But the only time I would ever see their kids ever was at their birthday parties, right? So I'd see their kids at their birthday parties. So I was just the guy who showed up once a year, and I would show up.
Mm-hmm.
I would always be late, and I would always leave early, and I would just show up,
Mm-hmm.
but I would bring the biggest, most expensive toy that I could find
Mm-hmm.
that they like. I would be like, "Oh, what do they like? Oh, they like Legos. Well, let me buy, or they like little cars or whatever. Let me buy this $500 package for a 4 year old. Here's this big toy because it shows how well I'm doing. I'm doing great, right? I'm successful. So here's this
Mm-hmm.
fancy toy for a 4 year old." And then I would leave and I would sit back at my computer because I had to work and I had to finish what I was doing. And then I would just be back to being by myself, right?
Mhm.
That was my whole. So after a while, people stop asking, "Are you coming out? Are you gonna do
Mhm.
something? Hey, come do this. Come do this event. Come do that." And it's not just me, but everybody's doing it, right? So if you and then if you're not one of those three things, the best, or born into it, or hustling the hardest, then you're completely poor and you have
Mhm.
nothing. That's that's your
Exactly.
those are the options, right? So that's all you got, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it becomes
Exactly.
crazy.
I just want to share my experience,
Yeah.
Sean, with to you is, it's kind of hard to really work hard to meet the goal that you really wanted, especially in terms of money and in terms of the future life. So so that you can afford everything that you want, everything for your kids or for everyone who needs it,
Mm-hmm.
because we cannot also what do you call that, deny that money is really important,
Of
right?
course. Of course.
So yeah, for me, because there's also a part of me that thinking about my, since I already have a child, so I'm a single mom who work independently and support independently the needs for her. So but I'm also thinking about the time. I
Mm-hmm.
really want to spend time with my child, because
Mm-hmm.
before I sent her to my mother to take care of her and then just give money
Mm-hmm.
and such and everything. But I'm also lost with regards to the time, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of crazy to balance your life, especially
Mm-hmm.
the work that I had is, it's crazy,
Yeah.
the time, the
Yeah.
travel,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why that makes me also think about leaving my previous job and just find a work remotely job, so that I
Right.
could take care and I have time to to
Well,
spend with my
well,
child,
that would give you back.
which is
That would give
very
you. That
important.
would give you back
That's
6 hours right there, just in travel time every day. Just not,
yeah,
not going. Just that.
exactly.
That would give you some time to actually sleep
Hmm.
every single day. That's crazy.
Hmm.
So
And
I
if you're lack of sleep, you have your mental health issues,
mm,
and
mhm.
everything is compromised, the
Yeah,
time, your sleep, your health,
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
It,
I am convinced that if I had stayed doing what I was doing before, if I had continued that, I would have. Yeah, I would have died early, like for sure. Like I mean, I would have had like a stroke or something. You know what I mean? It would have just
mhm,
because it was so exhausting. Like and just mentally, like I said, like and I think that's like that's one of the biggest things for me is that there's so much isolation here, right?
mhm,
There's so much separation, so much isolation, so much distance. You know the United States is also huge, and all the people who are important to me are far away. You know what I mean? Or they're just or you know, but it's even my own doing, right? I was my own pushing people away because I was so focused on getting the next thing. And you know, like I said, I got all of those things. I all those goals that I had set for myself, I hit
mhm,
every single one of them. But then when I got there, when I when I got to the top and I had all those things, it didn't. I like I said, I wasn't any happier. It didn't. I hadn't. I still had nothing. Right. Like I. So I
mhm,
had the fancy things. I had the nice things, but nobody to share it with. Nobody to enjoy it with. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And you know like and I think that's something that like a lot of people here in the United States really struggle with. Right. Really struggle with being
Exactly.
able to
You're right.
yeah and it's so hard for for men here to date. The dating market here is terrible. That's very hard for men here
Mhm,
because you know they like a lot of women don't find men in my age group valuable, I guess.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And once again,
Mhm.
this is not everybody, but there is definitely a huge problem. Like the dating apps are a huge problem here. And it's
Mhm.
created a lot of really bitter men. Men have become very bitter here in the United States because of the distance between men and women and the growing the growing inequality of money and growing inequality of social status and all of those things. They're just huge factors. And I find going to places like the Philippines, like right, like I mean, it's like it's far easier. Let's say that it's far easier for Western men to find a date there in the Philippines. Like it is like significantly easier there.
Mhm.
To I mean, and that doesn't mean you don't have to be selective. It doesn't mean everybody's a good choice. It just means that your options are actually like opened up there in
Mhm.
comparison to here. Is it how is dating
Exactly.
how is dating as a Filipina in the Philippines? Is it good?
It depends on it depends on the girls. To be honest, I would be honest. I cannot, I cannot tell because the differences of the mindset. It's always the mindset,
Right, right, right,
because some would like to date a foreigner just because of money,
right. Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
then some really wants to, have the connection.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Would you
of getting.
would you actually date a foreigner?
Actually, I had a boyfriend, and he is coming from what do you call it? Montana.
Oh wait,
If you
wait. You currently have a boyfriend from Montana?
yeah,
Oh
and
my!
he's coming home soon.
oh, is he coming there soon? Has he
Yes.
been there before?
Yes. He
Oh,
always because his mom is Filipina too.
oh. So he's
Yeah,
half
his mama.
Filipino.
Yes. But and the good side is, I mean, the good side is he really want the culture of the Filipino, because it's not like, and I cannot also, I don't know if you can agree to what I would like to say is the Western people is very what do you call that, mean,
Mm, yeah.
and yeah, so mean. And
Yeah.
here in the Philippines, we are very sensitive,
Mm, mm.
some of us is very sensitive in terms of the words, and
Yep.
also
Yep.
whenever we whenever we got shouted of,
Yep.
we are
Yep.
like, what? We are
So
shocked,
so wait a minute. Wait a minute. Your boyfriend is he what? He's half Filipino
Yeah,
and half
he's half
Filipino and
Filipino
what? What's the other half?
and American, white American.
White American.
Hmm.
Really? Oh, okay. See,
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, like, see, I'm just getting to know Maryland as well. Like this is like, I figured we had a few conversations before this, but nothing major. I'm like, that's fine. We can get to know each other on air, and I think that's good. And
Hmm.
like, because that way we're all learning about everything together. Keep
Hmm.
conversation going. But so, like I said,
And
I'm
actually,
yeah.
yeah, actually, when we're, on the getting to know each other is, I ask him really what what is the what do you think is the good thing having a Filipina girlfriend, or why did you choose me as a Filipina to be your girlfriend, or why do you have interest in me, because I don't want to date a foreign people because they're very rude or mean.
Mm, mm,
I'm being just, I'm telling him the truth of why I don't want to date a foreign people or
mm,
Western people,
mm,
you know.
mm, mm.
And um maybe the good side is he has also a Filipino culture, because he grown up around the, Filipino community,
Oh,
you know what I mean.
did he grow up in a Filipino community here in the U.S.?
Yeah, that's why, yes, that's why he don't wanna um he studied in States, and he knows the attitude, the personality of those foreign
Hmm.
girls or Western girls, so he
Yeah.
don't wanna yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
want
not,
that.
I'm not a big fan of, you know, when I was dating here, I have not been a huge fan of the dating market here. It has never turned out well at all. The expectations were crazy. The the yeah, just the yeah, just really just about the expectations, what they expect you to do. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
expect you to have, you know, make this much money and have this much stuff and do all these things for them, and but you know,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't really do anything in return, right? Like they don't, like they
Mm-hmm.
think that just because I'm pretty, that's enough. Because I'm,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
But
because
if
that
I were you, Sean, if you're looking for a girl to, spend the rest of your life with, and you wanna meet a Filipina, Filipina is most likely to tell you the downside first. They wanna downgrade your expectation, something like that. If you
right,
really wanted to,
right, right, right,
you
right,
yeah,
right,
because
right, right,
they don't want to, yeah, they don't wanna give like this is mean and everything,
right,
but
right,
they are telling you the downside first
right, right.
because they love challenge. They want to challenge men
Uh-huh.
if they really want to pursue the real Filipina.
Right,
That,
right, right,
that's my perception of the
right,
Filipina.
right. And see, and I've done like so I've talked
And
to
not all about money, huh? It's
right.
not all about money. It's the connection and also the emotional, connection.
Well, see, that's the thing is like, so a lot of foreigners, they have the misconception that like what what that what Filipinos actually like, oh, they all just want to get a green card and then come here to the United States. And
Mm-hmm.
my what I've seen is completely opposite of that. Like they're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, like they're like, I'd like to go visit, I'd like to go see the United States, but ooh, I am convinced, like you hear all these stories, like even from way back when I was young, you know, like you hear the stories of like guys bringing Thai girls or Philippine girls back over here, and
Mm-hmm.
they all hate it. They all hate it here. Like they become like they become like they can become very westernized, and that just sucks. And then
Mm-hmm.
their families don't understand them anymore, or they really feel alone. They really feel separated from their culture and from their families, and you know that's a huge deal over there. You know what I mean? And then the other big, and I think the biggest reason why they hate it is because like we can go into this on a different episode. We can talk. I want to talk about this in detail, but like the perception is that all guys here have money, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's because a guy that makes like this much money here, just a little bit of money that means nothing here, can go
Mm-hmm.
there and pretend like they have a ton of money for like a
Exactly.
month, but they actually come back here and they have nothing, and they're like
Mm-hmm.
living in equivalent to a Nipa hut back here. You know what I mean? They're living in a terrible situation, but it's just because our money is so much better there. It seems a lot better, right? Like it just, and then
Mm-hmm.
but then
You're
they
right.
get some Filipina to like, oh look, this is great. I have a foreigner, and then they bring them back over here, and they're like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Everything about this is terrible. Where I'm living is not safe. It's horrible. Everything there's yeah, it's just terrible. So that's like I said,
Mhm.
we'll talk
But
about that in detail. Yeah.
when I watch some other content
Mm.
with Western guy and Filipino women, they still love to stay in the Philippines for good because
Yeah.
they don't really want the living in Western country.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, and that's exactly it. Like, and I would never want to like I would never pursue that. Like, even if I found if I
Like
got
there's
in
no happiness, right?
it, I would never pursue to be back to bring somebody from there back to here. I would never even
Mm-hmm.
push for that or anything like that because I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. Like yeah, there's no good part of all of that going on here to move anybody back here to the U.S. It's the point is to get out of this, right? Get out of the mess that we have going on
Mm-hmm.
here, and get into something. new and different. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. But I would say this: we've put what? So our first episode, we've done this for about an hour, I think, something like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, about an hour, and
about an hour
yeah, and I'm good with that.
almost.
Like so this one, like I said, everybody. I think this is really just like an intro, kind of like forgive the quality, and we kind of been meandering over the topics and just whatever, but
We're
you know,
just starting, guys.
right, and this is really just this. You know what, everybody out there, this really isn't even about you. This is just about me and Marilyn, just trying to like figure each other out and make sure all the hardware works. And so, and if we can do that, then and it's about breaking the ice and just getting this initial thing. You get the jitters before you start your first one, But it's going to get easier. It's going to get better. The quality's going to get better, and we're going to keep improving this. And at some point we'll actually like have like designated things we want to talk about. But for all the people that managed to stay through this nonsense that we put out here on this first one, I would say that this is really about like pursuing what it is that you're looking for, pursuing something to make yourself happy, right? To know that it's not just about the grind and the drive, and just forcing everything through. That there are other ways, and about pursuing what's going to make you happy and give you a longer life, and then also a
Mhm.
little sprinkles of
And then,
other factors.
and also, Sean, you know what? I can also advise to you that don't refer to dating, because it's it's better if you know the girl personally, not just in dating.
Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm curious. What do you mean?
No, I don't know. I assumed you've been in dating before.
In the Philippines?
Yeah, or no? Not
Yeah, I
yet.
mean, I've gone out with some girls in the
I mean,
Philippines.
dating up, dating up.
Oh, dating apps? Oh, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no,
No,
no. I
no
haven't.
to
No, no,
dating up.
no, 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 no,
Exactly.
no, no, no. I know. I haven't. I haven't
There's
used
a lot
any.
of,
I haven't
you
used any
know.
date. Well, when I before I went over there, like I said, we can talk about this in detail. But
Mhm.
on the we as a matter of fact, we can go. We can talk about that on the next episode if you want. But like I did when my first initial contacts with anybody over there, because it was meeting people to have people to meet up with. I did use an app that I found
Mhm.
online. But it was,
Mhm.
and I don't even want to mention it, but it's one of the popular ones, and it's one of the ones that aren't. They weren't. It wasn't a hookup app. Let's say that. I don't want to say exactly which one it
Mhm.
was, but it wasn't like a. It wasn't like a Tinder or that kind of thing. It was actually like a, oh, meet somebody, and and I met, like, as a matter of fact, I met some really great people on there, right?
Mhm.
And but there's been some inherent problems along the way. That things that, but and these were all like the road bumps to the Philippines. Things that I understand about it now that I didn't. There were huge cultural things, right? That I just didn't get because you just don't know. And yeah, like I said, we'll definitely, that's definitely going to be a topic of conversation for sure. We'll talk about all that. But no, I don't. And what I like. Let me say this to close that one out is would tell my message to everybody is get offline. Like if you're gonna go, just go
Mhm.
and be there, right? Like
Yeah.
I would say that to
No
everybody.
hesitations.
Yeah, just go, because if you go and you can see, we're so trained that like you can't just, oh, see, yeah, we'll talk about all this on the next one, because I think that's a good topic for the next one for sure. But yeah, like, my point is that just go, and you're gonna have a much better reaction, a much more positive reaction by just going and figuring it
Mhm.
out than you will than doing all of the app stuff beforehand. So that would be my short answer to that, and we'll get into the long answer on the next episode. We're going to do one episode every single week for the time being, and yeah, we're just going to keep improving this and getting the conversation up, and yeah, just making things. Yeah, hopefully we'll get somebody that actually like what we're saying or something. We'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from you today for today's topic. For
Yes.
sharing those idea and um, those topics that you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yes. Yes. It
Thank you
is.
so much.
Yes, thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate it, and like I said, we'll be back at this next week. So everybody, thanks for your listen, and Marilyn, I will talk to you soon. And goodbye, everybody.
Okay, goodbye.
And